Chapter 2. Even if he had amnesia and was reduced to a rural villager, the heir to the Shanwei Marquisate, momentum was not even slightly diminished. At the moment, his sword-like eyebrows were wrinkled, his thin lips were tightly pursed, and he looked over with narrowed, almond-shaped eyes. The invisible oppression he exerted in the atmosphere could intimidate people. However, Xu Yunsheng wasn't an ordinary person. He raised his chin and stretched out his hand, pointing towards him. "Have I offended you?" The man's skin was very white under the sunshine. He looked like a doll carved out of mud and fat jade, without the slightest flaws. Contrarily, his lips were very red, so red it made others unable to look away. His already extraordinarily handsome features were complemented by a pair of glittering, vibrant peach blossom eyes. When he looked over, his eyes were exceedingly beautiful, but also exceedingly arrogant. If he was a Gare, the people dropping by to propose marriage to him would trample the Zhu mansion's threshold. Qin Se stared at him, involuntarily thinking of a two-line verse. The beauty in the high palace is like a jade, while the handsome young man is unmatched in the world. Unfortunately, this young man was beautiful, but his behavior was really underwhelming. Thinking of this, Qin Se indifferently looked away, continuing to hoe. Zhu Yunsheng didn't intend to badger him. Seeing his silence, he dropped the subject and picked up some dirt, crumbling it, then examining the circumstances of the draught. Suddenly, a gentle voice shouted behind him, "Little Black, quickly come and eat." Because Shinsei had amnesia and suntanned skin, Zhang Shulin nicknamed him Little Black on his own accord. He also saw that he was strong, muscular, and highly skilled in martial arts, so he intended to recruit him as a house guard to help deal with with his group of annoying relatives. Therefore, he was very affectionate with Chinse. His care would even be called meticulous. When Chinse heard his call, he immediately threw the hoe in the fields, his stern expression melting slightly, revealing a gentle look. Zhu Sheng seemed to sense something. He stared over, suspecting that this Chinse might be his lover. That man's origin was very mysterious, and he always loses his memories. He was sometimes the protagonist, sometimes a supporting character, sometimes a cannon fodder. It made him unable to predict who he would become this time. Unfortunately, the only way Zhu Yunsheng could somewhat sense him was through intimate contact. Now, if he wanted to check Chinse's identity, it would really be somewhat difficult. He couldn't just walk up to him and forcefully kiss him, right? If it turned out to be a wrong guess, then in the future, Zhu Ziyu's ending might be even more miserable than what would be the point of coming to this world? Zhu Sheng got lost in his thoughts, but after being stabbed by Qin Se's cold eyes, he snapped out of it, naturally shifting his attention towards the protagonist's shore, denying in his heart, "Treating me so differently? He can't be that man." The protagonist's show's appearance could only be considered delicate and pretty, but his warm, jade-like temperament was very attractive. Coupled with his bright red sindoor, his worth immediately surged. Helplessly, his family was really too impoverished, and he had difficult to support annoying relatives holding him back. So, although he was 17, he still couldn't find a husband. At this point, the protagonist Cho also saw him. His smile was immediately replaced by loathing, glaring over at him. Zhu Sheng patted the dirt off his palm, then raised an eyebrow, asking, "Have I offended you?" "I'm the Zhang family's Xu Lin," the protagonist Shou tactfully replied. "Zhang Shulin? Should I know you?" Zhu Sheng raised his chin slightly. His gorgeous facial features made an expression he put on look arrogant. made any expression he put on look arrogant. He seized his secret recipe, then, in a blink of an eye, he forgot about him. Was it a major event that was to him a matter of life and death, not even worth mentioning in his eyes? What a wicked, rich man. Zhang Shulin really wished he could pounce and throttle the other man to death, but Qinse gripped his wrist as an implicit warning. He had no choice but to let out a mouthful of turbid air and calmly reply, Lord is a landlord is a busy person. How can you recognize this nobody? I just saw landlord standing there and came over to greet you. Have you eaten yet, landlord? Why don't you join us for a snack? While speaking, he opened the covers of the wicker basket, revealing sesame seed biscuits, pickled vegetables, boiled eggs, and other things. Zhu Cheng glanced at it with disdain, then slightly turned and left. Zhang Shuling's anger rose again, but Qinse gripped his wrist, gently stroking his cinder in silent comfort. At this, he calmed down. The two people ate the sesame seed cake and stared mockingly at the stumbling landlord, who almost tripped over the field ridges several times. I was going to tell him that there'll be a great drought soon, so he should store up some water and food, but now it seems it's not necessary. Zhang Shulin snorted out, laughing. The Zhu family is wealthy. They must stockpile large amount of foods every year, then sell the old grain in the storehouse. You really don't need to worry about them. Qinse rubbed his shaggy head. Eh? What the hell kind of unfair world is this? When natural disasters strike, only the poor suffer. Zhang Shulin gave a dejected sigh, but then he recalled that he, a gay man, was able to come to this place where men and men could openly start a family. This could at least be considered life's gains and losses. At this he felt comforted again. Qinse didn't reply. He picked up the last egg, peeled it, then passed it to Lin's mouth. Zhang Shulin took a small bite, then pressed the rest into Qinse's mouth. While the protagonists were acting cozy, Zhu Sheng had taken the carriage back to the Zhu mansion. He changed out of his civilian clothes and went to the dining room for a meal. Young master, this is the Lu Wei the Zhang family sells. I brought one of each variety. Have a taste. Lu Shi set each dish on the table. This is stewed pork. This is stewed tofu. This one's stewed jianxiang. Zhu Sheng tried them as Lu Shi introduced them. Causing Tweety's mouth to water, she praised, I don't know how the Zhang family comes up with so many ingenious ideas. On top of peddling this food, they also peddle many uncommon things. Forget about the century eggs from last time. The Lu Wei is really salty and delicious, really memorable. If not for Zhang family making the stewed pig intestines, I would have never known that this stinky stuff was both edible and so delicious. Oh yes, young master, I hear they're setting up a small store in the county, selling something called hot pot. Can you bring Tweety to try it one day? Is this really that delicious? Zhu Sheng put down his chopsticks and sneered. I think it's just so-so. They need to cut down on the fennel seed and add more cinnamon. If they add 2 tokay geckos to the marinade, 3 monk fruits, and 250 grams of coriander seed, it'll taste better. Tweety lost her appetite as she listened, her face white. Young master, did you make a mistake? Tokay gecko? Isn't that the sun-dried gecko used in traditional medicine to treat lung blockage? How can you use them for cooking? Won't they stink up the pot? This little girl has no insight. Zhu Sheng threw away his handkerchief and cast a sidelong glance at Tweety, smiling. Most of the ingredients used in Zhang family's Lu Wei are traditional medicines. Don't judge traditional medicines by their odd taste. If blended properly, they can also create supremely delicious flavors. Everyone says that the Zhang family's food is marvelous. I thought it would be delicious, but now it seems to be nothing more than a novelty. Tweety, get me a brush and paper. I'll improve the recipe. Tweety skeptically brought him the brush and paper, asking, "Young master, how do you know what ingredients were used in this Lu Wei? I've never told you? I have had a sensitive tongue from childhood. Forget about the ingredients in this Lu Wei. Just one sip, I can even tell which river well the water was drawn from in a cup of tea." Xun Sheng smiled neatly. Really handsome, easygoing, and outstanding. Tweety didn't doubt him. She immediately spread the paper and grinded the ink, anticipating the outcome. Xun Sheng rewrote the recipe, carefully annotating the proper boiling method, which ingredients to add during the first few minutes, the amount at what boiling level to take it off the fire to let cool down, how to cut with the knife, set the plates, etc. All had strict instructions. When he finished writing the recipe, he called Zhu Lao Xi over and handed him to lower the tenant farmer's rent from the original 50 to 30%. Every 50% rent, Zhu Lao Xi would secretly take 20%. Now that the boss reduced it to 30%, wouldn't he go cold and hungry? If it was anyone else, they would temporarily restrain themselves a little, but his courage had long been fostered by Zhu Ziyu, becoming bold and fearless. Turning around, not only did he not reduce the rent, he added 10%, turning it into 60%, so he could pocket 10% more than in the past. This instantly provoked serious complaints from the villagers. All his actions were known by Zhou Yunsheng, but he didn't expose him. Zhu Laoshi was his authorized scapegoat. The other side, acting so unscrupulously, was playing into Zhou Yunsheng's hands. When the cook received the recipe, he dedicatedly spent 3 days and 3 nights effort to make a few dishes of Lu Wei. After a small taste test, his eyes immediately widened, and he regretted that he couldn't swallow his tongue. Although the Lu Wei was created by the Zhang family, after being altered so much by the boss, its taste can be called a peerless delicacy. In my opinion, it's more than good enough to serve at an imperial feast. The cook gave Tweety a thumbs up. Tweety was twisting a piece of stewed duck neck, gnawing on it. She simply didn't have the willpower to pay attention to him. After eating, she gave a comfortable sigh, then threw him another recipe, urging, "This is the hot pot soup base recipe that young master altered. Quickly get on it. Everyone will eat hot pot tonight." "Great, excellent. Tweety, girl, please come fetch the dishes around 5 p.m. The cook impatiently examined the new recipe. Carrying the savory lunch into the dining room, Tweety curiously asked while setting up, "Young master, after you altered the recipe, the taste can be considered first class. Since the Zhang family's Lu Wei is making so much money, why don't we also open a Lu Wei store? Plus, this hot pot will certainly not taste as delicious as your alteration. So how about we open a hot pot restaurant too?" "Don't be too greedy, little girl." Zhou Yunsheng poured a glass of wine and casually said, "Cutting off someone's livelihood is like killing their parents. Since the Lu Wei and hot pot was created by the Zhang family, why should we fight with them over it? I just love good food. It's really not about money. The world is so big, how can you earn all your money cleanly? Living comfortably, only this is the right thing to do." Tweety also agreed with this, halting her thoughts. Jane Sheng drank wine, accompanied by Lu Wei, gradually feeling slightly tipsy. He narrowed his eyes and contemplated on the protagonist Show's gold finger. The protagonist Show was a chef in modern time, quite knowledgeable about food. However, Chuyun County was a very backward country in terms of culinary technology. Their food variety was very monotonous. Forget about Lu Wei, hot pot, stuffed steamed buns, dumplings, and other traditional food. Even light soy sauce, dark soy sauce, sticky chili bean sauce, and other seasonings were not yet invented. The protagonist Shaw was overjoyed after he realized. Since then, he created fine food and good wine, embarking on the road to riches. And this Goldfinger also helped him firmly grasp the stomach and heart of the loyal dog Gong, who was a foodie, letting him become the biggest winner in life. Jian Shang originally thought that the protagonist Cho's cooking must be superb, but when he tasted the Lu Wei, he immediately understood that his so-called culinary skills were most likely at the level of roadside snack stall. Zhang Shulin was born into an ordinary household. He might never taste truly high-class delicacies in his 2 lifetimes. I actually had such big expectations for the Zhang family's gourmet food. What a waste of time. Zhou Yunsheng gulped down his glass of wine, then switched to pondering over a crucial problem. It seems Qinse already has a favorable impression of Zhang Shulin. If it was that guy, he could never love someone besides me. So Qingse shouldn't be him. Then who could he be? He wouldn't become a passerby, right? The world is so big. Where should I go look for him?